A few months ago, I was working with a couple. They're trying to buy their first home in Burlington. We're looking for a detached home, and we actually found one that checked almost every single box for them. It had everything that checked their list. It had a great layout. It was move-in ready, located on a quiet street, which might be hard to find in some areas, and it had just hit the market. Listed $1,050,000. We submitted a clean offer at $990,000. However, because it was a offer too soon for the seller, they rejected the market flat out. The seller just flat out says no, and my clients were crushed. They've been searching for months. Finally, a house comes up, and unfortunately, they think now they're going to lose it, and they start to have that fear seep in. Should we go back to them at full price? I told them we're going to wait. It makes more sense right now. It's not the type of property or the type of market to go crazy in. It's not a bidding war market anymore. We need to remember what market we're actually in. The longer the listing sits, the more power you actually have as a home buyer. So 2 weeks go by, the home is still on the market, still overpriced. The home hits 30 days on the market, then 37, 45 days. And at that point, we decided, let's go back to that property, but with some clarity right now. A revised offer we're sending them was $972,000. So we're going back at them at a number less than what we did last time. And this time, we actually got this offer accepted outright. No issues, did no back and forth on our offer. The same home, now it's theirs, $30,000 less than it was going to potentially be 3 to 4 weeks prior, because we trusted the process. And here's the truth. Right now in today's market, the longer a home sits, often it's the best opportunity for you as a potential home buyer. So think about the opportunities that are out there and use them strategically. Don't go offering on homes that are 1 week on the market and hoping to get a great deal. So we're going to talk you through that today. We are going to talk about how to actually negotiate a deal in 2025, and one that actually works for you. So a few years ago, there was no such thing. Of course, negotiation wasn't a thing. It was just show me your wallet and give me as much money as you could in a bidding war, and buyers didn't care. They still threw money at every single listing. Sellers were getting 10, 20, 30 offers and taking the best offer in front of them. Highest amount of money, less conditions, and quickest closing. Buyers were getting frustrated. You weren't negotiating. You were basically just surrendering. But right now, we're finally in a different era. We're in a buyer's market. Today, interest rates are higher. The inventory is higher. Buyer urgency, it's down. And now, negotiation is back on the table, finally. So the rules, they've changed. You are a buyer. You are in the power position now. You are not going to just be dictated from the seller. So if you want to get ahead of the market right now as a buyer or a seller, you need to actually learn what the new rules are. The psychology of a deal is very, very important. So we're going to zoom in on what actually happens to make a deal go forward, because it's not just the number on the offer. Deals happen when 3 different things actually align. The seller feels safe. The buyer, they feel smart, and both sides feel like they're not being taken advantage of. And that's a really big point. Being taken advantage of is one thing you don't want to feel as a buyer or a seller. And that's it. Yes, the price does matter, but the terms, they actually matter more. Motivation, that matters the most. When you understand why the other side is actually wanting to make a move, what they need more than anything else, then you start to find that leverage. And leverage actually creates opportunity and more options. And options, they create more deals. So we're going to talk right now about some buyer strategies that might actually work for you if you're looking to get a home. So 2025, as you know, it's different. You've got room to negotiate a lot more than you realize on some properties. And in this case, we went in $50,000 less and ended up shaving another 30 off of it. So we're going to talk about some of these strategies right now. The first is look for the overlooked on properties, the ones that have been on the market for 30, 40, 50, 60 days, listings with bad photos, poorly written descriptions that aren't going to grab anybody in to look at the property. Those are some of the hidden gems. If you're looking for those ones, the ones especially with the toilet seat open, the agent using their phone to take a picture, those are the listings where the opportunity is there, because those sellers might not understand how badly represented their house is on the MLS. Now, secondly, study the language of what you're going to see online, realtor.ca. See words like as is, motivated, immediate possession. To me, these are negotiating flags. If you see those things, there's a reason why they're put out there, and the agent can't just put that out there unless they get the seller's go ahead. So if you have immediate possession, motivated seller, and as is, maybe there's some distress here. And that's something to have your agent reach out to the seller's agent and figure out why they are actually selling. And sometimes you're going to get that information. The agents that are listing properties may slip the information and give you that leverage that you actually need. Why are they selling? What's the timeline? And have they already bought something else and now they're in a pinch? They need to actually move. They have no choice. This is what they have to do. Are they paying 2 mortgages right now? Because you and me both might not be able to afford 2 mortgages. The fourth thing is you want to present a strong, clean offer, but don't chase. If you want to offer, put a confident offer down. And if the seller doesn't want it, or if they want you to change too many things, come back later, just like we did with our client, and it might pay off better for you in the long run. As a buyer, understanding that a house is a house and it shouldn't be an emotional decision is the most difficult thing. I think a lot of people have a hard time taking away the emotional aspect of buying because you see your family in the home, you see how you could potentially love that home, and you need to think about it as another home will always come on the market. And if it doesn't check 10 out of 10 boxes, you can always modify the home and make it exactly what you want. Now, the fifth is when you're talking to these sellers, we want to use some verbiage that gives some flexibility and something along the lines of, we're happy to proceed quickly if the sellers are willing to consider a price adjustment in light of some of the recent sales. So make it a little bit more light and fluffy for them. Or something like, our clients, they're ready to move on with a firm deal if we can land on a nice number that reflects the current market. Don't tell them their house is overpriced and they're batshit crazy. Give them a little bit more of a soft approach and you might have a better result. Or here's another one. Given the inspection findings, the buyer is actually requesting a $7,500 credit in lieu of repairs of blah, 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 whatever the issues are in your inspection report. Utilize some of these opportunities to use verbiage that's going to get you forward in the transaction and also help you in your pocketbook. And now if you're a seller, we got to talk about that as well, because defending your price without losing your mind is something that's extremely important. You need to go into this whole deal understanding buyers are in that pole position right now. But if you understand where they're coming from, it's going to allow you to have a better approach and to maybe make that buyer feel like they're getting more out of the whole thing. And you understanding that you're finding a common landing for yourself as well. So do something like a pre-inspection on your home. Give control over the narrative. Know what's wrong with the home beforehand, and it shows confidence, and it's going to reduce a lot of that negotiating friction that you do have. The second thing, price it just under people's search bar. So maybe people are searching at 800,000, have it listed below that number. So you do pop up in that search criteria. The third thing that you need to keep in mind as a seller is add value creatively. Flexible closing for people. Maybe you're going to pay condo fees for 3 months for them. Leave behind high-end appliances or something of value that might just close that deal a little bit more smoothly. The fourth option for you as a seller right now is relaunch your property strategically. If you've been sitting on the market for a long time, refresh your photos, change the headlines, reposition your listing like it's just coming to market fresh. And the fifth thing that I have here for you is don't panic with the early low offers. They're just kind of signals. So gather some feedback, use it, adjust if necessary, but never out of fear. Go into your adjustment with confidence about your decision. Now, if you're a seller, I'm going to walk you through some of those negotiation tactics as well. So here's what a strategic buyer and seller conversation might look like for you. The buyer agent would say something like, we reviewed the comps and the recent activity in the area based on the condition and the days on market. We're comfortable with presenting an offer at whatever that looks like, 900,000, let's say. It's clean, there's a 30-day close. The sellers were hoping for something closer to 940,000, but given the timeline, they'd be open to discussing if the buyers could firm up financing conditions sooner. right? So go back at them with a response similar to that, and it's going to put you in a better position than just shutting the door altogether. The buyer's agent might come back with something like, I understand if we can waive that condition within 3 days, would you consider meeting us halfway, maybe at $925,000? The seller agent, that could work. Let me bring it to my client. So this is some of the dialogue that can happen on the back end between the agents. And if you're in that position, talk to your agent about how they are going to handle this dialogue to make sure you're being represented properly. Now, I got a quick example for you guys here. I saw a condo in Toronto. It was actually listed at $749,000. It sat for almost 60 days, which is not uncommon in today's market. Everyone assumed it's overpriced. What no one realized, this agent was actually on vacation. Photos were from a phone, which you know how against that we are, and the remarks on the listing said nothing. We got this bad boy for $695K. You know, it's not uncommon that there's deals out there. There's no conditions. The seller just wanted it gone. The moral of the story is if you start to dig a little bit deeper, you'll be able to find either a hole in the agent or in the seller. So keep your mind a little bit calm. Negotiation is not a war. It's kind of an alignment between the buyer and the seller, and the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. Knowing your market and understanding what's going on in all aspects is going to help you actually get a better deal in today's market, but it's also going to make you feel a lot more confident in either your purchase or your sale. We can't control the market we're in, but we can control how we actually handle buying or selling in the market that we are in. Now, of course, my clients got that home. They got a great deal on it. They saved $72,000 there in Burlington, but not because they actually fought harder, because they planned smarter and were patient. Now, if you find something like this out there, don't act too quickly and give in as the buyer. Think about waiting just a little bit longer to snatch up that great deal.